TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond.
Good evening and welcome to Living in Your Purpose with Dr. Pat. I am so excited today. I have my special guest today is none other than Dr. Marita Kennedy. She is an incredible publisher, work with authors, doctor of metaphysics. She is incredible. So I'm so excited to actually have her this evening. So we're going to go straight into it. Welcome, doctor.
Hello. Thank
How are
you
you
for having me.
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
Thank you for being here. So tell me, who is Dr. Kenny?
I am definitely a person who loves people, and I'm an encourager. I like to help people see their potential to heal from life trauma.
That's deep. That's all. You already coming over here deep. Okay. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Springfield, Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what brought you to Atlanta?
Well, my husband retired out the military, and we're here helping people in the industry. My husband's also a film producer, and we're the owners of the Kids Acting Academy in Conyers, Georgia.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
training kids up to compete in the industry, training them so that they can show their talents and their skills as well.
Wow, we're definitely going to talk about that. Yeah, now that's exciting. You have so much on your plate, and being a first lady.
Yes.
That is incredible. That is
Yes.
incredible. So, as a woman in the publishing field, I don't know, how many women are there in the
I don't
publishing
know.
field? Especially a minority woman.
I don't know. When I started my journey, I didn't know anything about the publishing industry. I started off as an author.
Okay.
Because I still write.
Okay.
And so I came into it from a different perspective because I was a writer.
Okay.
And it opened up doors to publishing because I was helping so many people. So that's actually how it was birthed. My husband actually started the company because I was just helping people. I went to school for business, and I was like, this is not how you start a company.
Right.
This is not how you do it. But it was birthed out of the need. So I have been blessed to have some mentors in the industry. Brenda Browder, she's definitely taken me under her wing throughout the years.
Okay.
So I don't really know how many there are out there because I just focus on what we do, at Pure Thoughts Publishing. And I don't really compare anything like that. I just know what we have to offer.
Well, the reason I'm asking is, in this day and age, we're talking about and constantly talking about black business, supporting
Yeah.
black business, starting black business over. And that's very important to know, okay, especially with other women businesses. That's strong. That's how we build our wealth back. We can build Black Wall Street back again just by supporting one another. So
Right.
that's really important to me. People that I seek out and find is because of who they are. Because I don't believe just because a person down the street stuff may be a penny different, that their
Right.
icer is colder than somebody else's ice. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's very important to me. But before we get into all the stuff that you got going on, because wow, you have a lot, let's talk about what brought you here, what brought you to your purpose, what brought you into walking and then eventually living in your purpose.
Yeah. My purpose, it found me. And the reason why I say that is because, like I mentioned, the industry that I'm in, I didn't choose it. It chose me. And I wrote my first book out of venting. I didn't know I was writing a book. I had no clue. I didn't know of any authors. Back when I wrote my first book was like 2007.
Wow.
I didn't know any authors. I didn't like to read. In fact, when I was in school, that was the subject I struggled with the most, was reading.
Really?
I just wasn't interested. I just would rather do anything but that. And so tragedy came. My brother was killed.
My God, sorry.
And I found myself in a place of despair. I grew up in church. My father was a bishop.
Okay.
But church didn't help me. I really needed a way to connect with God. And I didn't realize that writing was going to be therapeutic, but that's what God gave me to heal.
Okay.
And so I began to write shortly after My brother was killed. I lost my father.
Oh my God.
And it just was this, I can't even describe it. It was just one of those things when life happens, what do you do?
Yeah.
And the one thing that I knew was that I had to move forward and I had to find a way to heal myself. And I didn't really know how to do that. But like I said, God gave me writing as a gift to not only heal myself, I had no idea that it would help other people along their journey too. And so throughout my writing career, I was writing, and then other people were like, hey, I would like to write a book. Would you help me? And I just started helping people. And I was like, listen, I may not know everything, but if whatever I do know, I'll share. And so it came from pure intentions. That's why I named the company Pure Thoughts Publishing.
I like that.
Because there was no business in mind. I just wanted to help other people get to the point that I had gotten to. And it turned into a company. And now I've written over 58 books.
Wow.
Right now we have, I think, 67 authors that have been signed with Pure Thoughts Publishing. And not only that, but I also work with authors from other companies.
Really?
I work with everybody. If they need help and I'm able to help them,
Yes.
they don't have to necessarily be published through our company in order to get support from us.
Really?
Really? Yeah.
So, viewers, know this. If you're an author, if you're thinking about writing a book, that's what you want to do. You have one started, reach out to Pure Thoughts Publishing Company. Get your book published. She does all aspect from the editing, the everything. So it's like a one-stop shop. Wow, that is incredible. So, let's talk purpose. Let's talk purpose. You know, I truly believe that everything we do is purpose, because it's the very reason that God created us. So sometimes there's good purpose, sometimes there's bad purpose. You know, like you said, you started your company from the goodness of your heart. That's purpose. You know, how far are you trying to take your company?
Like I said, this wasn't the ideal business model. I want to help as many people as I can, help to tell their story. I believe over the last few years, some of the authors I've helped have transitioned. They're no longer here.
Really?
And I just, for me, to be a part of their journey, to share their life, it's almost like God was showing me the power of words. They exist even when people are not here anymore.
Oh my.
And so when I think about what the future holds, I'm open. I'm open to what God has for me. And that's one of the hardest things that we do in life, is just to say, yes, whatever you have for me, I want that. Because I planned things in life and it didn't turn out.
Okay.
It didn't turn out. And it's not saying
nothing like you planned.
And it's not saying not to plan, but to be open to allow God's will in. Because God will come in and say, you thought you were going here, but that was just a stepping stone. I just needed your attention, or I just needed that to help develop your character. So those plans do serve a purpose in your life. But you have to be open when that plan is altered. You think you're going off track, but you're right where you're supposed to be.
Right where you're supposed to be.
Absolutely.
And that is, you know what? That's serious. That's knowing that you have to have had a relationship with God. That's something. So I understand that your doctorate is in medical physics.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Absolutely.
Because I don't think some of the viewers might know exactly what that entails. So share with us.
To simplify it, is to teach that we all have a soul inside of our body. And that we're connected to God. And that it bypasses religion. Because God is so big.
Yes, He is.
He's bigger
than
big.
Religion.
So it doesn't matter what you believe. You were created for a purpose.
That's right.
And there's a divine connection you have to tap into. And it doesn't matter necessarily what your walk is. Just to know that you were created for a purpose.
That's right.
If I could sum it up That's what I would sum it up. And if you want to learn more about it, I would say read about Jesus. Jesus was connected to the source. He was connected to God. And he was giving us an example on how to look beyond religious belief systems, look beyond the stereotypes. You know, the world will say, love this person, discount this person.
Horrible.
And it's like, no, when you really identify that a person has a soul, you start to do soul care. And really within the church, that's what it is soul care. Yeah, we have human issues, but if you can get to the core and take care of their soul and teach them how to nourish that and to connect to God, that's really where they'll find peace. That surpasses all understanding.
Come on now. I love that. Wow. I told you guys, exciting, dynamic. Wow. Okay. Let's talk about what's going on right now and how you're feeling about it. Black Lives Matter. We have so much going on in the world. Divided, no love, no peace, hatred, racism. What do you think about that, where you have this peace in the midst of chaos?
Yeah, I believe that people's hearts are being exposed. I think we have a heart issue, which goes back to the soul, right? Because you're looking at things that separate us instead of looking at things that unite us. And that's where the division. Whatever you focus on, that's what's going to grow. So if you focus on the differences, you're going to just see more and more things to validate you wanting to point out the difference. But if people can change their perspective and focus on the things that unite us, then they'll have a story that will bring about evidence of everything to support actually all the things that connect us.
That is true.
So it's the focus. And I just believe right now the disease within our country is being exposed. And it's hurtful. It's surprising to some people. Other people are like, no, it's been here. Right. It was the elephant in the room that people were pretending not to see, but it existed. And I'll never forget, I have friends of every background, practically. And I was talking to one of my friends, and I was trying to explain to her, because some people say I don't see color. That's a luxury, because a lot of times as black people, we don't have that privilege not to see color.
That is true.
Because at some point in our lives, we're going to be reminded.
Oh, yeah.
That we're black.
Now, that's true.
And so I was basically saying, I think that's the biggest difference. We cannot walk around and not see it. Even though we can try not to, someone who does see it will remind you.
This is true. Now, we know racism has always existed.
Yeah.
And because of it existing, people, like you said, people have hid it. But it's bad when our leaders, our political leaders, specifically number 45, help ignite that rage. Because he already feels that way, so he's helping it out. So it's not getting any better.
No, but the thing is, when people are being themselves, it gives other people permission to be bold and to be themselves. So it's just a matter of, we always have a choice. We always have a choice. But if people are feeling the same way, then now they're just feeling the courage
to do it.
Yeah.
To do it.
So it's not a bad thing. It's not always a bad thing, because some people live in this world and they're like, show me who you are.
Okay, we're going to take a break right now. We have to pay the bills. We'll be back.
Today's world exposes our youth to life experiences that are well beyond that which their years should allow. Violence, trauma, poverty, injustice. Our children's lives and their livelihoods are in constant danger. Wisdom, Inc. is a community-based organization designed to save young lives by reducing violence and assisting youth in their personal development. Wisdom stands for wise individuals structuring and developing youthful minds. Through our collective wisdom, we can change lives for the better. Wisdom Inc., reducing violence, developing youth, saving lives.
Welcome to Burke's Jewelry. How may I help you?
We're looking for engagement rings.
We offer a wide selection. However, I believe we have just what you're looking for. Burke's Jeweler is your family's jeweler at 491 Flat Shoals Avenue Southeast, Atlanta, Georgia 30316 in East Atlanta Village.
Hi, I'm Harry Lennox, and you're watching TV 1061, your global network.
Welcome back to Living in Your Purpose. I am Dr. Pat. Once again, my special guest today is none other than Dr. Kenny. She is a publisher and the owner and founder of Pure Thoughts Publishing Company. We're talking about her initiatives, her purpose, and just current events that's going on in our community now. So, welcome back. Okay, so what do you think about the Black Lives Movement? Do you think it's good? Do you think it has its motives for people to use it to do their own agendas? How do you feel?
I think people are using their voices. People want to be heard. And it's almost like, you know, sometimes you're getting in front of the people's face and you're like, if you don't do something on your own, I'm going to get you to pay attention. I'm going to get you to see me. I matter. I have a heart.
Even with the violence?
What do you mean with the violence?
Well,
as far as
you have you have the peaceful protesting that deals with Black Lives Matter.
and then you're having the protesting
and then
that's
you have
violent.
the violent, the shooting,
But see,
the tearing up, the rioting.
Right. Of course, I don't agree with it,
But you
I
understand it.
I understand that it's a symptom. And it's a symptom because what's causing them to do that? There's always a cause. There's always a root.
Absolutely.
There's always a root. And I always say, you know, let's say there's a wild teenager and she's off the chain. People will see that and judge that, not realizing that she has a story.
Right.
And something normally has happened to trigger those self-destructive behaviors. You know, there are a lot of people who are hurting. And a lot of people, sometimes we judge others because we, first of all, people say, I would never do that. The reality is you don't really know what you would do under certain circumstances.
That's true.
So you have to think
What if
about,
it's your family members?
you have to think about the protesters. You don't know what type of pain they've endured where this is their outcry. There are a lot of people who are using it almost as excuses. Some people are just out there just being disrespectful.
Right. Right.
So the problem is you can't identify who is who. Because
the
some
problem
people going out
is-
there just being mischievous.
That's true.
And just, you know.
But the problem is, just like there's a cause, there's an effect. That effect
Absolutely.
is not just going to be toward the ones that's actually doing the violence. That effect is also going to cause problems with the peacefulness.
Absolutely, because they're all getting lumped
Yoked
together.
together.
Yeah, and you know, and everyone is different. Everyone's purpose for being out there is different. You know, so that's the problem, because you're like trying to separate, and now we're judging because we're trying to figure out who's doing what. Because there are a lot of peaceful protests. I know people who protest.
Right.
You know, that have done it peacefully. I've gone out there and protested and done it peacefully. And all the things that people see on television may not actually exist in every single protest.
Right.
I
That's
haven't
absolute.
witnessed it.
Right.
But it exists because we see it, you know. But the problem of it is, it's like, what is really instigating this? What's really instigating it? Now, I will tell you this. I remember this movie long ago. A lot of y'all remember it too, with Joe Clark.
Lean on me?
Lean on me, yeah. You
Yes,
remember?
ma'am.
Remember he said, if the cages are in the cafeteria, if you treat them like animals, that's exactly how they'll behave.
Mm-hmm.
So there are certain atmospheres that will create that type of attention.
That's so true.
So you have to still, what is setting this atmosphere? Because if I go into an atmosphere, depending on what's going on, could change anyone's mood. What I mean by that is, for instance, say you go somewhere and you feel safe and you feel that you're going to be respected. But if you go somewhere else and it makes you feel unsafe and you're on edge and everybody's, irritated and aggravated, I think there are situations that are also instigating as well. I think it's all playing hand in hand, but I think there is some instigation as well.
Well, I would say this, and before I go there, rest in peace, Congressman John Lewis. Your works, everything that you have done as a role model, everything that you went through doing peaceful protesting, I think everyone should use that as a model. I mean, you were arrested over 40 times, had your skull fractured, and he still didn't act that way.
No, absolutely not. I think that some people have the tools and some people struggle.
Well, if you have the tools, he put the tools right there. He showed the roadmap.
Yeah.
These gentlemen that led the way, they showed it. And trust me, they went through so much worse.
Yeah.
I don't think I could have lived through that time. So my thing is, if they went through that during a time where, hey, it was open.
Absolutely, yeah.
Then it should still be done.
It's so hard to relate because I haven't done that. I haven't acted out that way. So it's so hard to say exactly why people do that. We can only speculate and say maybe it's this or maybe it's that. I believe that everything is either love or fear.
Well, I'm going to say like this. My parents have always taught me, when you're making a decision to do something, ask yourself this. If God was right there in the physical watching you, would you do that?
Right.
So when you're bursting out windows, looting, stealing, robbing people of their life, work, business.
Right.
That has nothing.
It's heartbreaking.
That has nothing to do.
It's heartbreaking.
With Black Lives Matter.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And you mentioned fear. I believe, a lot of things it's either love or fear. But you mentioned fear. If God was standing there, would you do that? Some people are struggling in that area. There are some people who don't fear, God. And there are some people who have no self-accountability for their actions. They're just like doing whatever. But for me to justify why they're doing it is difficult because I'm not them. I can only assume.
I don't think there's no justification. If you're taking something from someone, you're stealing out of their store.
No. You're absolutely right. There is no justification. But people feel however they feel. I haven't talked to anybody who looted. I don't know anybody who personally looted. So I'm coming from knowledge of just, why are they doing this? They're just acting out. All I know is there are root causes why they're doing it.
That's not acting out.
But it doesn't justify it.
But that's not acting out. Stealing.
No, that's
going
a crime.
in the store,
Stealing's
just going there, taking people's shoes. When God say, "Thou should not steal," But
that's something you and I we agree on.
And they should know this as well. There's a cause and an effect. Now, we're supposed to be standing for something.
Absolutely.
Rights and being killed, and stuff like that. That's what it's supposed to be about. It's not supposed to be about destroying.
No, and it's distracting. It's distracting because
because it gets the message. Now, nations, everybody don't see us the way God sees us.
Right.
They see us as animals. They see us as just disgusting, will take from you, dishonest, and that is really not all of us.
Right.
But that's how they label us. So when we say, you know what, Black Lives Matter, we deserve better, you kill this person, we want justice, but you're demonstrating exactly how they feel about us.
That's certainly true.
So that has to change.
Yeah.
I mean, once you become enlightened and you become woke, you should think differently. Everything
So
don't
are
come
those
with
individuals enlightened and woke? Because you said you should think differently.
everyone has choices in this world.
Yeah.
That's what conscious is.
Right.
And unfortunately, everyone has a conscience. Everyone. God didn't give some and not others. So you know when you're doing wrong. Just like you know when you do right.
I don't think.
So when you're going out there, you got the peaceful protesters over here. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're still getting the message out. Then you have the ones that's lying waiting to a certain time. Those have left.
Right.
Okay, now we're going to do foolery. We're just going to just
But
act.
if you think about it, let's
I don't understand that.
Well, outside of the demonstrations, our world lacks love. Our world lacks love. And
But love has nothing to do with stealing, looting. It has nothing to
Well,
do with breaking the
it
law.
has to- for
If anything,
me-
you're taught obey the laws of the land.
it has to do with self-love, because my thing is, it's self-destructive behavior. When you're doing anything that brings dishonor to yourself, let's forget about everything else. The mindsets came to these protests. That's what we're talking about right now. These individuals came there with their minds. This didn't happen overnight. A lot of people already kind of have this mindset that we're dealing with. Have they committed other crimes? I don't know. But I know they're struggling with how to, okay, the peaceful protest, there's a different mindset of those individuals who participate in the peaceful mindset.
Are you justifying what they're doing?
I can't justify what they're doing because I'm not I have no idea what their excuses are. Or
It's
their
no
reasoning,
excuse.
or their
Like I
reasoning.
said, everybody has a conscience.
I have not talked to one person who's looted. I don't know
Well,
one person
on my
who's looted.
Instagram page,
Sure.
the people that stole out of the icebox jewelry was on Instagram with a Rolex. Check out my new Rolex.
I'm not justifying it because I don't agree with it.
Now, you done stole the people's stuff.
But
And now you're on there.
I can't tell
so
you
when
what
they come
think.
and arrest you, you'll think they're wrong. You'll think they're wrong and say, "Oh, Black Lives Matter." Now, I love my people.
No, if they
But I
stealing-
love people
if people
too.
are stealing, they should be held accountable.
So you can't say that, it's they don't have no self-love. That's why they're doing that. Oh no, come on now.
I believe that we have a heart issue in this country. Consciously, why would you want to take something from somebody? Why would you want to? Why would you want to? What I'm saying is, when it goes back to morals, there's some issues that were there before the protest as far as those individuals are concerned. Now, as far as their actions, I can't I'm not them. I can't tell you what's going on in their minds, and I can't tell you
And
why
that's
they're
not
doing
what we're
it.
talking about. We're not talking about what's going on in their mind. We're talking about
I can't
solutions.
I can't justify
We're talking about
that.
solutions, things we can do to make it better. Because I'm tired of the people thinking, "Oh, you guys are just animals." You're
What
just,
I feel
that's
like-
not good to think about us when I know that we're God's chosen. That's not good to think about our people like that.
What I feel how we can make things better are, what can you do? What can you do in your house? What example, what morals can you instill in your children? Because it all starts at home. That's what we could do. Everybody take an account of their village. I'm going to help as many people as I can.
That's when they're children. We're talking about now.
I came here to talk about
and
publishing.
You know what? But some of those are children.
No. I came here to talk about publishing.
Oh, on my show, we talk about current events. We talk
That's
about
fine.
everything.
That's
so
fine.
it's just not just publishing.
We could talk about all of that. But while I'm here, I agree to promote love. And the people who are looting, I'm a business owner.
Right.
Would I want someone coming in and taking my things? Absolutely not. Do I understand that there is a root behind a lot of people's feelings? I'm not naive to that. I understand. Do I justify their behavior? No, I don't think it's right. I don't do that, and I don't know people who do, but yet people are doing it. I have not had a conversation with these people. I'm not going to say what they're doing it for. I don't know. I can't speak for these people because they're not a part of me and not a part of my circle of influence.
But are they a part of our community?
They're a part of our community.
So
indeed.
we have to make our
So we have to have a
better.
discussion
Right.
with them and let them speak for themselves to say, why are you doing this?
Well, we have to go on break now, and we have to pay some bills. We'll be back.
Are you an artist, a writer of spoken word? Do you have content ready but need exposure? Get to know me. I'm Alicia, host of a new Facebook live stream show called The Flavor, where we promote local and international talent of all genres. Here are some rules and regulations to the videos that we'll be accepting. They must be radio ready, no cursing, no lewd language. You must send us contact information as well as a YouTube link to your video so we can extract it from there. Email us at 1061tv@gmail.com, and we thank you for your time.
Welcome back to Living in Your Purpose. I am Dr. Pat. We're discussing community events, things that's going on in our community, in our world right now, solutions, just thoughts, round table, just anything that we can do to just bring about changes. Changes start with us. Change start with us in our own community. If we step out and try to educate and talk to different ones that's making the decisions that they're making. And if you notice, there's a lot of teenagers, it's a lot of young people that's out there doing a lot of this stuff, where I feel like it's not too late for them. If someone, all of us, we're supposed to be about our community, can if we could just take one child a day or someone to wake them up, to show them, okay, you know what, there's a better way. And the reason I'm going there, because I wanted to ask you, with your acting academy, do you take the at-risk kids?
We take.
Do you work with them?
We work with anyone who's interested in the performing arts.
But do you have a program like specifically for those babies?
With this particular program, we don't. It's tuition based, but we always do outreach for them. Even if it's them coming in, working behind the cameras. If someone came to us and said they wanted to be mentored, we don't turn away anyone.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't turn away anyone. So if someone came to the academy and they wanted to, because we don't just teach them the skills of acting. We teach them to be built up. We do affirmations with them. Because you have to know who you are if you're going to go pretend to be someone else in acting.
That's true.
You have to be whole, you know. So if someone came in, and we do mentor people who are not necessarily enrolled in the academy, they're still a part of our family because we work with them and we help build their skills. We have several kids that they're in the entertainment industry, and we've kind of like taken them under our wing and just help them in any way that we can to help mold them into reaching their goals.
What ages?
4 to, we even have adult students, so.
Really?
Yeah, it's a kids acting academy, but we have adult students too.
Okay. So are you actually in there doing it, hands-on doing it yourself as well?
No, I'm not. My husband is the instructor, and there's other instructors involved as well. I do most of the administrative things for the company and the promoting and things like that. But yes, he is hands-on.
Okay.
He is hands-on with the kids.
That is awesome.
Yes.
That is
When kids
awesome.
leave the acting academy, they will be ready for auditions, and you will know that they are professionally trained.
Really?
Absolutely.
Now, with that program, do they have to graduate from it? Or is it like they have to do 3 years, 4 years?
No, it's not a program like that. We have students who are working actors. So some students will come in just because they have an audition to prepare for.
Okay.
Or some
okay.
kids will go through the acting academy, whereas, yes, there are different levels.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Our
Before
goal
we
is to
end
get
today,
these
I
kids-
definitely
yeah.
want you to give the viewers all the information
Sure.
about that. Because if we could just make some difference in some babies' lives
Yeah. Yeah.
and turn their decision making around.
And their self-esteem improves so much through the academy.
I believe that
Yeah.
because you have such a sweet spirit.
Thank you.
You do.
But it's
you
not
do.
just the acting, but we do a lot of personal development with them as well.
Really?
And yes, public speaking. Yes, these kids are learning everything.
Really?
Yeah.
So what made you guys to decide to do something like this?
I actually met my husband on set. I met him as an actor. I was the backstage director. And so I met him during a stage play. And he's always been an actor for as long as I can remember. He's been acting over 20-something years, been part of some really great films.
Okay.
But one thing that he noticed was that there were students out there. I'm not going to say students. They weren't students yet. But there were kids going to auditions. And they were getting turned away because they just didn't know the basic skills for auditioning. And he said, if I have anything to do with it, I'm going to help train these kids so that they can have a
Wow.
shot at their dreams.
That is incredible. I know you say, I'm here to talk about publishing, but you do so much more.
We do.
I mean, publishing is your baby, and that's what you gave birth to, and you're nurturing it. But you're so much more. It's very rare to meet someone like you.
Really?
With the heart that you have, the spirit that you have, just to see that love, and you don't see that very often.
The reason, as we were talking about the protesters, and the reason why I don't want to judge them is because I grew up with a lot of at-risk youth.
Oh, okay.
And there's a lot of other issues behind
Right.
the way they, for lack of better terms, express themselves. So that's why I said there's always a root. There's always a root. And sometimes people do things where they feel this is what's going to get attention. But I don't believe everybody out there has the same motive. I don't think everyone's out
believe
there
that
wanting to
either.
be heard. I think some people are just using it as an opportunity because some people are opportunists. Let's just
Right.
be honest and call it what it is. Some people
Right.
are opportunists. Everybody is, distracted by the police, whatever is going on. I can go in and take some stuff. There are people who are not a part of any movement other
Right.
than I'm about to go get me some stuff. So I don't want to lump it, we just talked about stereotyping. I don't want to stereotype and say everybody that's out there has the same reason for doing. I can't say that. I'm not a part of any of it.
Right.
But what I will say is that some people out there, we talked about having the tools. Some people, depending on where they are in life, know how to utilize their tools, and some people are still learning. Some people
This
are
is
still
true.
learning.
This is
And
true.
so, if, let's say, if my children were out there protesting, I'm a mother of 6. If one of my children were out there protesting, and because of the things that I've taught them, I would hope that they would conduct themselves a certain way to know that they always represent, number one, our family.
Right.
They're representing God. And the way that they carry themselves is important. I always say, carry yourself, dress the way you want to be addressed.
Absolutely.
And so there's certain things that I've taught my children. I can't compare my kids to somebody else who is just as equally maybe outraged. But instead of doing things in a productive way, you're doing things that really aren't making any progress. I mean, you're making some noise and people are watching, but they're, like you said, a lot of people have their own narrative about African Americans,
Right.
and it's feeding into that, and that's not helping us.
Not at all.
So
Not at all.
for the people who are doing it, it's a conversation. But I don't think anyone who is not doing it can speak on their behalf.
I just think, and you know what? I'm not even looking at it as speaking on their behalf. I'm looking at it as, what's the solution?
It's always it's a matter of the
how
heart.
do we work with them?
Right.
If they're our future leaders, we're supposed to hand the torch over to them.
Training.
Okay, what about the ones that
Training.
have no one to train them?
If people, well, if there was maybe a training program for the people who are really interested in change, to have them come in for some type of training to show this is how you get results.
Right.
Because a lot of times I believe people feel, and I could be wrong, some people are just crying out.
It's true.
It
and
looks,
then you know what? It's
this
nothing
way, but it's cries.
for the young people to do here. I'm from South Florida, and we have Boys and Girls Club everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They have the Police Athletic League.
Right.
And these are places the kids don't have to be on the street getting in trouble.
Right.
They help them with their homework. They have mentors. You know, you have 100 Black Men. You have a lot of organizations, but where are those organizations here?
That's true. I, growing up in a small town, I don't know anybody who wanted to be in the streets. I know a lot of people make choices out of survival, and that's a terrible way to live when you feel like you don't have an option, because that's it's not the truth. There are always options, but sometimes people feel like they don't have any options, and so they choose to do whatever they feel like they need to do at the time. And that's what's heartbreaking. I'll never forget, I was in a barbershop with my son when he was younger. I heard a man say, if you get in trouble, you know, sometimes you might need to go out there. And he was not promoting selling drugs, but he was like, if you get in trouble, you know, you might not be able to get a job, and you might have to do what you have to do. Oh. And I was in there with my son, and I said, I normally wouldn't speak up, but my son is sitting here.
Right.
And I refuse to let my son believe that if he were to ever get in trouble, that his only option is to sell drugs.
Exactly.
I believe if there's not a door of opportunity, build a door. That's what I believe.
That's what I believe.
That's what I believe.
That's what I believe.
So there are a lot of people who do certain things just out of survival. And a lot of those young people do not want to be doing what they're doing, but they need to be built up so that they can realize that they can become what they admire by other people. Like, that could be you. That could be you.
That's true.
It's all about identity, showing them who they really are, and letting them know that your circumstance and the way that you're being brought up, that's not the end all be all.
Right.
No, the story doesn't end there, it begins.
That's true. Now, you know, you have some parents that teach that. Hold on. We have to go on break, got to pay some bills. We'll be back.
Hi, I'm Chief Gary Sparks with the Douglasville Police Department. Today we want to give you some safety tips concerning traffic stops. Take a look.
So you look in your rear view mirror and see flashing blue lights. What do? Remain calm. Yield to the right and pull your vehicle over into an off-road area that is safe for both you and the officer. Put your car in park. Remove your foot from the brake and turn the radio off. Remain in your vehicle. Have your driver's license readily available for the officer. Keep your hands on the steering wheel, visible for the officer at all times. If you need to retrieve any items from the interior, explain what you're reaching for to the officer and avoid any sudden movements. Rolling the window down completely establishes a level of trust with the officer and allows for ease of interaction during the routine traffic stop. Be courteous and polite. Be cooperative and willing to follow the officer's instructions. During a routine traffic stop, the officer will return to his vehicle to run the tag and driver's license verification and complete a citation if one is necessary. Once the officer returns and approaches your vehicle, whether or not a citation or warning is issued, please remain calm, courteous, and cooperative. Sign the citation acknowledging you agree to appear in court, and do not dispute the citation with the officer. The officer will give you a court date to explain or defend your infraction.
Okay, ma'am. Like I told you, I did clock you at 51 in a 35-mile-per-hour speed zone. I did issue a citation, okay? This here is going to be your court date. I just need a signature from you stating that you received a copy of this citation, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Here's your driver license.
Thank you.
Along with a copy of the citation, okay? You have any questions or concerns for me?
No, sir.
Okay, well, you have a nice day, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Following these few simple steps will help ensure a safe interaction for both you and the officer.
I hope these few tips help you as it relates to dealing with law enforcement and traffic stops. Not only in traffic stops, but in all encounters with law enforcement. We hope that all our encounters are safe for the citizens as well as for our officers. Again, we want you to be safe, and if you have any problems with the Douglasville Police Department, don't hesitate to give us a call and make your concerns known. I would add that Georgia is a right to carry state, and we hope that if you are carrying, that on these traffic stops and all encounters, please let the officer know that you are carrying. This will ensure your safety and our officers' safety. Thank you, may God bless you, and may God keep our community safe. We are one.
Hi, I'm Michael Collier, funniest man on the planet, and you're watching TV 1061, your global network. Stay tuned, because that's how they do it over here. Big time party. All right, see y'all later. Bye.
Welcome back to Living in Your Purpose. I am Dr. Pat. We're having purposeful conversation. I'm here with Dr. Kenny, and we're just talking about just current events, throwing ideas out there about different things that's going on in our community. She's truly walking, well, she's living in her purpose. She has passed walking, superseded walking, and living in her purpose. And it's just a pleasure to have her here today and to just be able to learn from her and everything that she's doing. Before we go any further, I want you to give the viewers information.
Sure.
Not only about the publishing company, but about the Acting Academy and any and everything else that you're doing. How they can reach out to you.
Well, the publishing company is purethoughtspublishing.com. That's pure, P-U-R-E, purethoughtspublishing.com. And it's just kidsactingacademy.com. And we're located in Conyers, Georgia. We try to help anybody that we can. And my husband and I both, if we have the knowledge, the wisdom, or the resources to steer people in the right direction, even to help them better make a decision about something, we want to provide the information to them. So, yeah.
I like that. Guys, reach out to her. Reach out to them. They're willing to help. They want to help. They want to make a difference. They are making a difference in their community. So please don't forget to really reach out. You're going to see more of her. You're going to be hearing more about her and her husband and different things they're doing. We were talking earlier, and she was saying how they actually don't have a church. But you know what? They're dealing in their ministry. Their ministry is working with the kids and publishing. We don't have a building anymore. Yeah. Right. You don't need that. Sometimes your ministry comes differently, different ways and different routes.
And seasons. And, you know, at one point when we had our brick and mortar, that was an experience. And then God moved us from that. When we moved here in Georgia, my husband prayed about it, and God said not to start a church. But ministry didn't stop. And a lot of times people think, because there's no building, there's no ministry, and that's not true at all. So even people who are struggling with that and feel like they need a building in order to do ministry, like, don't deceive yourself. You know, I believe who we are, who God called us to be, is part of the ministry. Yes. So a lot of times we focus on what we're supposed to be doing, and God wants us to focus on being. Yes. And then the ministry's there.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's not just your ministry, it's your brand, it's who you are. I fully and truly believe that. It took me some time to start living in my purpose, and I had to actually go through something horrific in my life. Didn't understand what God was doing, why he was doing it. All I know, I didn't have a pity party about it. I just kept trusting in him and believing in him to know, okay, sir, you know what you're doing in this season. You know what you're doing in my life in this season, so I have to trust you. And, you know, prior to going through what I went through, things was good. My life was good, you know. But I had to be reminded by someone, because of everything I went through and what I'm doing now, life is going to be great.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what keeps me going. Just purpose. Anyone I talk to throughout the day, I'm talking to them about God and their purpose, living in their purpose, doing exactly what they're meant to do. Because, you know. Because just like you said, you started off as an actress, but that wasn't your purpose.
Oh, no, I was never an actress.
I mean, well, you know, in the industry.
I was a writer.
But that wasn't your purpose. Your purpose was to publish.
Right.
Now, publishing is deep. Everybody can't do it. Everybody's not doing it. So, girl, take a bow. That is incredible.
But there's all those if you look back over your life, the clues were there. The clues were there. My early 20s, I was a hairstylist.
Really?
And I thought it was about hair.
Okay.
But God was teaching me to connect with people on a deeper level.
Yes.
Because my clients, you know, we would get close, and I was learning how to connect.
Okay.
You know, and so it was not about the hair. When I look back, I was looking at the interaction of hearing stories. I was hearing stories the whole time. I just didn't know it had anything to do with writing or publishing. But the ear, God was training my ear to listen to people's hearts. And sometimes they would say things, but God would let me listen to their heart. And I'm like, man, this person's really afraid. Or this person is really, they're saying this, but I hear this. You know, so God was training me and teaching me in chair. Yeah.
We like to call that discernment, right?
It was definitely discernment, but it was also allowing me to see beyond and feel, to really feel what they like. Compassion, show compassion, true compassion. You know, and that's one of the things. It's a gift to be able to feel what other people are going through as well. But that styling chair was definitely. I could see that part of my training.
Really?
Yeah.
You are one of the very few people that I have met in my journey in life that truly looks past a brother and sister fault to see a true brother and a true sister. And that's a remarkable gift. That, I mean, that's just not something that everyone has. To see the pureness in them, to see the love in there, to be able to feel their heart and know where they come from. That's the Spirit of God right there.
It's definitely God. It's not me. But I'm thankful and I'm grateful. And it's a process. It's a process because the views are often different. Because people see things and God shows me something else oftentimes about the person or their situation. And it's when you break down the barriers. And I remember there was an experiment. It was on a television show. I don't remember the show's name, but it was about racism.
Oh, my.
And the conversation, it wasn't a conversation. They just had to sit in front of each other for 2 minutes straight and stare eye to eye.
Really?
And
for
that's
2
all,
minutes?
For 2 minutes. And all they did was stare eye to eye. And at the end of the time, the person who had a prejudice towards the other individual, he just began to weep. Because when he looked into his eyes, he looked at him long enough to see his spirit. And he just broke down. And I'll never forget that episode because oftentimes we don't take enough time to see that beyond all of our external things that are human experiences here on earth.
Right.
You realize that this is a person that God created. And when you strip away everything else, you have to find humanity. You have to.
Girl, you know what? I knew you were going to be deep, but you have really blown my mind today. I am so honored to have you here this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my God, just wow. Wow.
Man.
You've showed me some different avenues, some different ways of looking. I mean, I try to figure out answers or whatever, and I don't always have the answer or whatever, but I guess if you're constantly looking at people as if God is looking at them through his eyes and seeing the pure love.
And that's the answer. The answer is always love.
Always.
The answer is always love.
Well, that's true. Matthew 22:37-40 says love.
The answer is always love, because the answer is always God. And we haven't gotten that part.
Right.
We talked about studying, the word and things like that. It's hard because I know a lot of people who struggle with love. They struggle with love, but they know God, and that's such a contradiction.
That's oxymoronic.
It's such a contradiction, but it's true. People won't forgive. People, they become ill because of all the things they internalize. And I remember at one point, I had a lot of unforgiveness and hate inside of me.
Really?
And I prayed and I said, I got to get this out. I got to get this out. And the journey that God had me go through was I really needed to forgive the people who were responsible for my brother's murder, who were in prison. And God said, there's not enough room in your heart for both. You have to choose. And I had to choose love. I had to choose love because that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted, because I chose God, right?
Right.
And so God was teaching me how to forgive. But normally people don't do things because they're worried about the how. How am I going to do this? How am I going to get past this? How is not your business.
Right.
You just have to make up your mind. And that's all God wants, is a made up mind. And I made up my mind to serve him. And so the how, God worked that out.
Come on.
Because he worked on my heart. Like I said, it's a heart issue. But when he worked on my heart, that's when I was able to truly forgive. And it was a process. It wasn't overnight. But I had to show grace and mercy also to myself.
Yes.
And I had to love on myself through the process. And the more God showed me his love, the more I was able to love, right? And extend that love and extend that grace. And I want to say, when my son got older, and I shared this recently, my son, he turned 20 years old this year. And I remember the guys, when they went to prison, they were even younger than he. And it wasn't until my son was around their age when they went to prison, and I realized how much they didn't know. Because, at 20, you're still figuring it out and things like that. But that's when I showed compassion. I said, man, they were so young. They had no idea their life was about to change forever. And God was just really working on my heart. And through that, I was able to truly forgive. Not just say, I forgive you. Because people can say, I forgive you.
They really don't.
They want to, but they're still trying to do it themselves. And whenever you're trying to do it yourself, like, true forgiveness is a divine strength.
Yes.
It's a divine strength because you have to see beyond the offense.
You have to.
And when people struggle with forgiveness, what they do is they start to self-sabotage. And then now it's like, okay, this happened 20 years ago, but now you're pouring salt in your own wound.
Exactly.
Allow yourself to heal. But every time you get angry and the hate starts to stirring up and the blood starts to boiling, it's like you won't allow yourself to heal.
At all.
No. So it's like, you know, you just have to learn to love people where they're at. Because a lot of times we put expectations on people. Especially if you grew up in church. You have godly expectations for people who are not serving God.
Right.
It's like, why do you expect people to be here because you've had an encounter with God? It's like, stop judging these people's walk. This is part of their story. This is part of their testimony. This is part of their deliverance. Be grateful. I'm part of their story. Through this, maybe they'll learn how to love. You know? So I started to show more gratitude towards even my walk and the people who contributed to my growth.
You have truly said a mouthful, and I pray that someone has been touched by you this evening.
I hope so.
Guys, we're nearing the end. I thank you. I thank you for your support. I thank you for coming on here every week, listening to me, your thoughts. Thank you so much. I am truly living in my purpose. I am Dr. Pat, and you have a great week.
TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond.